Nobody cares about your dreams. Nobody cares about your aspirations. Nobody cares about what the heck you're doing other than you. There's so many people that kind of put us down, who treat us like, well, who cares about that? Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, why are you even doing this thing? Like, why do you even want to achieve that outcome? We put so much pressure on ourselves, and we tell ourselves these small little lies that grow really strong. They start off small, right? They start off small. But I'll tell you something, it can be so detrimental as you get older. Hey, my name's David, and this is Walk and Talk. Just trying to motivate people to become a better version of themselves, right? And I've seen so many different videos over the last number of years talking about so many different topics. And this is topics that I like to talk about. I talk to these topics about, self-improvement and trying to be better at what it is you're trying to do in your life. And I've done talking events at different places, right? And just trying to inspire people to see themselves as valuable for being who they are and showing them that they can achieve their dreams. I don't know how this is going to sound, but it's very windy out here, and I'm trying my best for this to sound okay, but it's just the wind really picks up and it gets a little crazy. So I have a dream of qualifying for the Boston Marathon. That's why I'm out here wearing what I'm wearing. I've wanted to do this for a very long time, but I self-sabotage myself time and time and time again, right? The first time, I wanted to run a marathon, that was awesome, but I also had this lofty goal of, hey, it's my first marathon, let's make it awesome and let's qualify for the Boston Marathon at the same time. But it didn't work out as I had hoped. And then the next year I tried again, and I failed again, and it was a miserable marathon. And then life gets in the way. People don't appreciate what you're trying to achieve. They try to hold you back. It's not like they're trying on purpose, but if you're not in a supportive environment, it can be really hard. And then with social media, when you look online and you see what all your friends are doing, and they look like they have it all together, right? They look like they've got everything dialed in. And I'm like, if they can do it, why can't I? And then you go down that road of comparing yourself to other people. And then when you don't get the results, you get down on yourself. And then you're like, I'm a failure. Why do I even bother trying? I'm never going to get there. This should just give up. This is kind of where I've been in my life. And when you deal with dyslexia or ADHD or any of these things that we have in life, we put labels on them and then we make them ours. And then we kind of go down this road of, I don't know, it's a very hard, slippery slope once you're there to not just continually get down on yourself. But, when 2020 hit, I knew things had to change. And again, I went through this other self-exploration, and I'm like, okay, I can do better. I can do a lot more than what I'm doing right now with my training. Let's just start doing this thing. So, I started to run really slow, I mean, honestly, I could walk faster than I was running, but I was running nonetheless. And over time, I was like, you know what? Forget about the Boston Marathon. Let's do an ultra marathon. That's got to be even harder. So I had signed up, but then as we all know, everything came crashing down in March of 2020, really. And my race was canceled. So I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do? So I took up the gauntlet of like, all right, well, if a race is canceled, I'm just going to do my own. So I created my own ultra marathon. I mean, let's just go all in and let's just run 50 flipping miles when I've never run more than a marathon, which was 42. So, like, really? That's 26. Sorry, 26 miles. I keep getting mixed up between kilometers and miles. But I did. I achieved my goal. I trained through it that summer, and by October I did the deed. In 7.5 hours, something like that. And I thought, man, that was far. 80 kilometers, 50 miles. That's not easy. So the reason I say this to you all is because sometimes a fire gets lit where you just say, you know what, I don't care what all the naysayers are saying. I don't care what, is social media is feeding me. I don't care about any of that, right? You have to protect your dreams. If you believe in something, so like just with every fiber of your being, if that's who you want to be, or that's the job you want, or that's the race you want to run, or you want to lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds or whatever, just believe in it. Close your eyes. See yourself at your finish line. Because when you see yourself at that finish line, things start to move in the direction that you want, right? Where you put your energy, you start putting your action, and where you put action, you start seeing results. And when you start seeing results, you start believing, and when you start believing, then you start achieving, and then when you start achieving, your goals do happen. Look, I'm not going to say everything's always going to work out like that, because my Boston Marathon didn't, but that's okay, because you come up with other dreams that you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna do something else. I mean, I could have trained, but I allowed my negative thoughts to kind of take control, and when they did, it just beat me down, and I was like, well, this sucks, right? And so one of the things, I'll give you a couple of things that can help achieve your dreams and not give up on them. First thing first, you have to identify why you're doing the thing that you're doing. So, I mean, if you want to lose weight, well, okay, it starts with you, right? Look at yourself, take some measurements, film yourself, take some pictures, whatever it is, weigh yourself, know what all your measurements are. That's just what I did. And I'm like, okay, this is my starting point. As depressing as it was, trying to lose 100 pounds was really hard, right? But over time, that was one of the goals in my head that I wanted to achieve. And so I worked towards it. I knew it wasn't going to happen overnight. I knew that I had to change some fundamental habits, right? So I started to identify all the triggers that made me eat. I understood, or I tried to understand, the pathway to where I wanted to go. And I wrote all of them down, put my dreams on a piece of paper, put them on the refrigerator, a vision board, just so I could see it. And then I started to do the things I needed to do to get me there. So I started to change, my habits. So I would go to bed earlier at night so I wouldn't eat, at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I'd go to bed before those hunger cues started to kick in. Excuse me. That was one thing that helped a lot. But then I also educated myself, what I needed to know about weight loss. Then I needed to understand about what made people, binge eat or get addicted to sugar and all these things, and how to start to break out of it. Then I started to change my relationships I had with friends. So I wouldn't go out with them and participate in their guilty pleasures just because they wanted to do it. It didn't align with me anymore. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that because I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go for my run, get showered, and then get ready to go to work, all that kind of stuff, right? So I had to put myself first. People are going to do what they're going to do, and maybe they don't think about, they look at maybe themselves more than looking at you. Like, you've got your dreams of what you want to achieve, but then they've got their things that they want to do. But they don't respect you. They don't respect what you're trying to achieve. They don't respect your boundaries. They don't respect your choices. And maybe that's a toxic relationship that needs to go. Maybe you need to have that conversation with that person and explain to them what it is that you're trying to do and why it's important. But if that person is a narcissist, well, they have to go. You cannot be around these people. They will suck the life out of you. So if you establish all of those things, and then you can start moving forward to the goals that you have set on the table to achieve it, right? Put in a timeline maybe, right? Your end goal is, I'm going to run a race by this date and I need to be lighter by this date, or whatever it is. I didn't. I took it week by week, right? I had a goal. I just wanted to be able to run a little bit further. I wanted to eat a little bit better. And in those times, the weight just started to come off. I didn't hyper focus, but I still, every week I would get on the scale, see where I was. And that was motivating because I started to see movement in the direction I wanted. But if I plateaued and nothing was happening, I gave myself grace. I looked at my journals to see what I was eating and what I was doing, right? Was I getting enough sleep? Was I binge eating at certain times? Was I eating, unhealthy food, like processed food? And that, that was able to keep me accountable. So over this time, things moved in the direction that I wanted. And again, it's not a linear line. It moves all over the place. And that's just one dream. If you don't respect yourself, those dreams of yours won't happen. And we as a species have to protect our dreams, right? Our goals. Because if we don't, if it's not kept in the forefront of our mind of what we want to achieve, those dreams die and someone steals them from us, right? We end up doing what they want to do. And then you get down on yourself and then you think, I have no self-worth, right? You have to have boundaries. You have to have communication and self-respect. It's a hard one for a lot of people because a lot of people do not respect themselves and they will not advocate for themselves. And then they'll just roll over, and it's just easier to go along with the crowd than it is with your own desires. It's much easier just to throw in the towel and go with the crowd, right? So protecting what your dreams are and what they mean to you and living it and seeing it in your mind will help you propagate to that next level. And The big takeaway on this one is surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who are uplifting, who you can learn from, and be open to information. Even if you may not like it, be open to the information, because that information may come at a time where you may need it, and it may be the kick in the teeth that you need. Is put the word down, respect, right? Comment with the word respect, because over time, I'm going to make some quotes. Hey Bob, how are you? I'm fantastic, good to see you. I'm going to be taking all the words that I ask you to post in the comments below. I'll be taking those words that I say, and I will be making, at the end of the year, I will be making a number of quotes and maybe a short little story from what I'm asking you to do. And at the end of the year, I'll have it ready and maybe we can do something with that. Till the next one, get out and achieve your dreams.